All right, welcome to this video, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the astrology and the cycles here, and I've de-emphasized this lately simply because I've had so much success with my trading system, my mathematical trading system, but I do have a continued interest in plotting the cycles and working with the astrology of this. So just bear with me on this. I am going to continue to keep posting these cycles, but I'm always looking for better cycles. So what I have here is I'm going to share with you a new lunar cycle that I've created, and it's kind of interesting because it's a similar one to the one I've been posting, but it has a wave function in it. In other words, a longer term cycle where the periods will cycle in and out and they'll peak. So let me just show you what I mean by that. Well, first of all, what I have here is the Dow Jones going all the way back to the 1880s all the way through present moment. That's the red line here. And this black line here, you can see these are the cycles that I have in here. And basically, this is one of the cycles I've been working on here. This is a lunar cycle combined with a couple of other features. One thing I like to do here is I like to run my system tester through this, and I will analyze the buy and the sell points of this cycle as it goes back to the 1880s. And what it'll do is it'll tell me based on this cycle, what are the returns. And so these little green arrows on the bottom are the buys, and the little red arrows on the top are the sells. So if you take a look up here, it gives you some statistics. The annual percentage of this was 5.65% if you just traded this alone. So the gains were 52.7% over the losses. But the profit was pretty high. If you take a look here at the buy and the hold, in other words, if you just bought and held the Dow, you would have made 40,675.64% going back to this day. But if you trade this cycle, you do 206,211.14%. So in other words, this beats the market substantially, right? It beats it by over 5 times, right? If you just buying and holding. So this in of itself is a great cycle just to take a look at. But let's zoom in. Let's go back to the 1930s. I want to zoom in here, take a look here, and let's see what happens during our great stock market crash here, to see if this was able to catch a lot of the turns here. And you can see this cycle here. It's got this basic sub-cycle in here, this lunar cycle, but I've also got a larger wave going on into here. And you can see it did pretty well going back into the 20s before the crash of 29. It picked out that top into there. It went all the way back up. It dropped through here. It went back up and crashed through there. So I always look at, the first thing I look at is I go back and I look at the 1930s. And then I might want to go back and look at like 1987. Take a look at this stock crash in here, and take a look at how well this cycle did into this. It predicted this this recent 1987 crash that we had. It did very well with predicting that too. So I like it. I think it's a pretty good staple. It's just one of the cycles that we use here. I have about I think I have right now about 6 or 7 of them that I'm plotting, including the Bradley, that work out pretty well. But I'm pretty happy with this cycle right now, and the returns are good. So I'm going to be using this as kind of a staple here. So even if you go back to this 2010 era, it just did a fabulous job. If you look at some of the bottoms in here, it corresponded with the bottoms in here, and the tops corresponded with the tops here. Take a look here in this 2011 area, when we had this cardinal climax in astrology. This was also during the major quantitative easing. You can see clearly that it did excellent in this period as far as just catching the sideways market. It caught the bottom into here. This top was a little bit off, but it was more or less aligned. I mean, these alignments are really nice. Now, keep in mind, this is a cycle. This is not like the Bradley barometer. The Bradley barometer is simply a conglomerate of transits and declinations of planets. They do not correlate to the market. This is an actual cycle. So I can project this out into the future. So in other words, this is not an oscillator of the market. It's not just projecting like a I could show you an oscillator, what that would look like, but an oscillator would just be like an RSI or something that would plot to the market. That's not what this is. These are cycles. These are actual cycles based on the planets. and I've just picked specific combinations here for these. So looking forward here, you can see that it's continued to do pretty well here. We've had quantitative easing going on here. The Fed announced this, so when the quantitative easing happens, this tends to distort it a little bit, but clearly you can see here that it's still doing pretty damn good. I mean, it had a peak up into here, and here it had a drop through into November, and that's pretty much what happened. Now, the one area in here that did not come true, you can see here in December, we were supposed to make a new low. Now, I attribute this clearly to quantitative easing, that the Fed is buying, $85 billion a month plus $40 billion in mortgage-backed securities. So we're basically buying $125 billion a month. That's billion with a B, 10 to the ninth power of treasuries, and that's why the market defied this into here. So we got another one dropping into like January the 4th into here, and let me see what that date is. It's January somewhere in there. The 3rd or the 4th is the next low. So this would show the fiscal cliff talks continuing to break down into here. So anyway, I'll continue to post these for my subscribers out into the future, into the year. But you can see clearly that this is a pretty good cycle, and I like this as a lunar. So it's like a lunar cycle with its own waves in here, and I think it's going to give us a pretty good, clear picture of the market going forward. All right, thanks for watching.